Hi, and welcome to Second Rate Film School. I'm Andrew,
I'm Jake.
And I'm Jacob.
and today we're reviewing 1996's Mars Attacks,
Are we really reviewing it?
or commentating on it.
Okay.
Hold on, I think we have to pause this endeavor and discuss it for a couple hours now.
I wonder if Lockjaw is a real town. Because it just said 4 miles away from Lockjaw, Kansas.
I don't know. I didn't do that kind of research. So,
This is going great.
so this is a good movie, I feel like.
Yeah.
Let's get the ball rolling on that.
Yeah, let's get the ball rolling on this. So when you put this DVD in for the first time, it immediately starts playing instead of going to the menu. This is a frequent attribute of many DVDs from this time period.
Maybe you think because they were afraid of people not being able to work a DVD menu?
I think so.
Yeah.
It was a groundbreaking technology back then.
Yeah, I remember like a lot of early DVDs would have that where it would be like directions on how to use your DVD player. So, now going back to the movie though, I've only ever like prior to us watching this on the DVD to like go over and like reacquaint ourselves with the movies. I'd only ever seen this movie like on TBS or TNT as it plays like a shit ton of times, or at least when I was growing up. So I'd legitimately never seen the opening with like the cows like running by flaming. I usually come in around the time of like the first massacre at the military base. That was always like the first time. So this is still reasonably new to me, and I enjoy it.
It's a very solid opening mission statement.
Yeah.
Well, it's great. I mean, Tim Burton, in all of his movies, pretty much, he always has this pretty great opening credit sequence that really sets the tone of the film, and it's always really well stylized in accordance to the tone in the story. Just always it's very creative all the time. He hasn't made one lackluster one, I feel like.
Yeah, my personal favorite is from 2 years prior to this, so 1994 for Ed Wood, where going through all of the different Ed Wood movies, they touch upon it, and much like this, you know, the great Danny Elfman score, in that case, like a theremin, so it makes you feel very 50s-y.
Yeah, this is a great score. This is when Danny Elfman was at his peak. This is a pretty overlooked score. I mean, just like the movie, but no one really mentions this when it comes to Danny Elfman's filmography.
Yeah, the main theme especially really makes this particular scene, the opening credits.
As we're now in minute 30 of the opening credits because there are that many goddamn people in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because several of these actors that are famous now weren't even at the time.
Yeah.
Like Jack Black and Natalie Portman, who were more up and coming at this point.
For sure.
What about Lucas Haas? What's he doing now?
This was definitely the height of his career.
Yeah. He was in like the Pussy Posse with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire and a lot of those young actors. They would go out and get laid. That's why they called themselves the Pussy Posse.
Oh, that's why they call them.
Yes.
I just thought they liked cats. The movie.
Well, Lucas Haas was in Inception.
Yeah,
He was in
very
the opening.
briefly.
Yeah, he was in the opening scene. That's all. Oh, he's in Brick. He's the pen. That's all I really remember.
Oh.
So, as we just saw in the credits, this is actually based on a series of trading cards.
Yeah, I actually looked up to look up the history of the trading cards, and like I saw like someone online like published like all of them, so you could like read through them, and like they're pretty graphic for the time. You know, that's a lot of them were banned, so a lot of the cards are like pretty pricey because a lot of shops just like saw these and said they refused to carry them.
Yeah, I was going to say there was some censorship, right?
Yeah. And they've done like sequels and like rebrandings and rerun issues of them over the years. So it's still a popular brand. And I think it works obviously without it. Like, you know, other than seeing the opening credits, you know, I didn't know this was based off a trading card set growing up, but it still works. And it's very interesting because obviously this movie's a send up to like 50s B movies and sci-fi movies, but it's also kind of a loving tribute also to a very specific part of the 1950s atomic age sci-fi. So it's interesting. You get a broad but also very focused look into the genre.
It's just interesting that would come from the series of trading cards.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a thing where you have these trading cards that are inherently irreverent, and you're able to build this satirical alien film just around like what's like a very basic premise.
Yeah.
Yeah, satirical is the key word here. I do believe this is Tim Burton's cinematic diatribe against humanity.
Yeah. He just kept muttering, "I hate humans" under his breath every take.
Yeah, I mean, notice in this movie how everyone's terrible and irredeemable except the loner kid who looks a little like Tim Burton and his grandmother, and then Pam Grier and her family. Those are the only ones who are redeemable in the end.
Basically, only the weirdo outsiders are the redeemable ones. You got a bit of a Stephen King thing here, where you're either a loner or an irredeemable monster.
It works here, though. It's not like it's incidental like Stephen King sometimes, though. Here it's actually part of the point.
Hence why all the irredeemable people we keep talking about are basically all the famous actors. That's sort of the joke.
Well, it's amazing, and we'll get more into like how quickly some of these characters are just killed off. Like, Michael J. Fox, like especially, like that blew my mind as a child who grew up with Back to the Future. Just like he's on screen for like 2 minutes and is like immediately vaporized. Like that blew my mind. Like, oh, he's gonna be the hero of the movie, right? Nope.
That's what's so great about it.
Yeah, I first found out about this movie just through like this Tim Burton book I got on his films when I was like 15, and that's how I found out about this movie. I just read the summary of it, and I was just shocked to discover everyone was getting killed, all these famous actors.
Well, apparently, supposedly Burton wanted the cast to be much bigger. Like, we end up with like 23 main/supporting characters. Initially, he wanted 60, so we've been following the story of a soldier, a doctor, and his nurse, and like a bunch of other people. But like it got to a point where it's like this movie's already so crowded that's like you can't keep just adding people. And I think that even with the large cast size in this, it strikes a very decent balance. Like I'm not thinking in 20 minutes. Oh, where's Byron? What's his storyline? Like they go away just long enough for you to do all the other stuff you need to do with the other characters, and then you can cut back before you start wondering, oh, what's Nicholson's character doing? So, good balance.
It has like the structure of a 1960s disaster movie in that sense.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to repeat that. It has the structure of a 1960s disaster movie in that sense, where you've got a big ensemble cast of famous actors, except it's subverted here and they just all get killed.
Yeah.
No one's really that heroic.
Now, as we're going over with him talking to his wife in this scene, apparently I was reading about lists of scenes that were planned to be in the movie, but they had to cut, but were still include the novelization, included a scene where his character is going through his scrapbook, showing off his fights, and he's looking nostalgically, looking at all the headlines, and it's revealed why him and his wife split was a abuse scandal. Like him hitting her, and I guess Tim Burton wisely decided, I'm not going to include a spousal abuse arc in my silly space movie.
Yeah, I don't know how I would feel about that character in that case.
Because I think he's a pretty likable guy in this movie, so that'd be a pretty big oh, whoa, that took a dark turn. I don't think, as terrible as this Jack Nicholson character is, I don't think he's hitting his wife.
Well, I think
maybe he is, but that's why he dies.
The strange part with that character is that he's divorced, but he and his wife are just extremely amicable and act like they're married.
Yeah.
It's very strange. Obviously, I like the idea that he has sort of a goal there to get back to his family. It's just sort of a strange way of executing it.
It overcomplicates his goal.
Yeah, he could have just been easily they're on hard times and dad's got to go out of town for a few weeks every couple months to do shitty jobs like this to make ends meet.
And that's what it kind of reads as at times.
Yeah.
Here's Jack Nicholson, who I think Michael Keaton, they originally wanted him to play this character.
Yeah, which is very funny because I always thought that was Michael Keaton because he plays it very much like how Beetlejuice was.
Yeah. And Annette Bening, who was almost Catwoman before she got pregnant and Michelle Pfeiffer had to replace her. Yeah. She would have been great too.
Yeah. Oh, and there's Michael J. Fox, the best.
So was this during his deal with Universal when he made those series of films that we watched, or
no? Because this was Warner Brothers.
Well, yeah, but
it could have been towards the end of it. I'm trying to think. What Jake is referring to is I have this set of middling to bad Michael J. Fox movies. Greedy, The Hard Way, For Love or Money, and The Secret of My Success or something like that, and they were all made by Universal in a short period of time. I think this was after. I think Greedy was the last one. That was like 93.
It was, okay.
Starring at the time we're recording this, recently deceased Kirk Douglas.
Yeah.
Who's surprisingly not in this movie.
It's a shame that Michael J. Fox never went on to be like a great leading man. I shouldn't say a great leading man, but a more successful leading man in more successful movies, I should say.
Well, this is actually one of his last movies where he appears on camera because he got Parkinson's. Whereas Parkinson's really started escalating shortly hereafter.
This is his last live action movie.
He's been in like a few bit parts, but like when I looked him up on IMDb, it's like saying as Michael J. Fox, so it's clearly a shitty movie where he's a cameo of himself.
Well, I mean, I guess a traditional feature film where he's playing. I would say this is his last one.
Which is sad because I agree that it's a shame that he couldn't really escape Back to the Future. He didn't get typecast in the traditional way, but it definitely
he was a big TV actor though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he had a very successful TV career, and that even continued after the Parkinson's diagnosis. He even had like his own the Michael J. Fox show at one point.
Oh, he was on Spin City.
That was the big one
show.
After this. Yeah.
Yeah, and he had to leave.
He continued on for quite a while on TV.
Yeah, it's a shame because he's this great, very likable, charismatic guy. I just wish he was in better movies that served him better.
Oh, and now Danny DeVito will not appear again until like
an hour in. Yeah.
An hour in.
This is a great different role for Annette Bening too.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's great.
Yeah, it was also very funny. I was reading that this is the second and I guess only other movie that Annette Bening and Michael J. Fox are in together, the other being The American President, but they share exactly 0 screen time in this, so I don't know if that counts.
Which also had Michael J. Fox.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the point, that they share screen time in that.
Oh, wait. I'm looking forward to hearing this commentary track already.
We're doing.
I don't know what I was thinking. Who starred in The American President?
Michael Douglas.
It was Jack Nicholson,
no,
right?
No,
Michael. We're talking about.
Jesus Christ.
Honey, I want you to marry me.
I love him in this movie.
Yeah.
Spins everything into gold.
Now imagine him in playing the president in Independence Day the same way he's playing this character.
He gets in the airplane at the end.
Yeah. Gotta squeeze him in.
Well, and that's a comparison that probably should be brought up. The connection or similar release time of this movie to Independence Day, which a lot of people say, and I believe so as well, played into this movie's middling box office. This movie came out December 13th of 1996, and Independence Day came out July 3rd of the same year. The budgets were pretty much the same, around $70 million. This made $37 million domestic, whereas Independence Day made $306 million domestically, so pretty big gulf. I think we could agree this is probably the better of the two movies, but
I mean, they're both doing very different things.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if I like one over the other. They're just different.
Similar structure, but obviously that's because they're both disaster movies, and that's what a traditional structure is.
I would say Independence Day is the more accessible movie.
True. Well, and that leads into my point of that movie is doing a kind of what's if a B movie with an incredibly huge budget taken seriously. Imagine Earth versus the Flying Saucers. If that had a substantial budget and wasn't a B movie being churned out as quickly as possible, what would that movie have been like if it was taken seriously? Where this was a more comedic, analysis and breakdown of that genre and an homage. So it's two very different takes of very similar styles and genres of movies. So very interesting to see how I think Independence Day, like I said, impacted this negatively, which is unfortunate for Mars Attacks.
Well, like I said, I think just one was more accessible to mass audiences than the other. I'm not even saying that is a negative thing. It's simply is what it is.
It's just a harder sell. It's just difficult to market in a trailer, like a satire like this. Where it just...
And it's like you can market the broad elements of this, like it's like a silly movie about silly aliens invading, but then you have this like very nihilistic edge where all these famous actors play assholes and die, and that's like a hard thing to get across.
Yeah. And you can see a little bit of the Burton style drawn on this, or painted on the side of the arcade they're playing.
This might be... Yeah, this is probably like the weak element of the film.
The subplot?
Yeah, this subplot.
It's fine. It gets us to care at least about some people. I don't know.
It's like a weird element where the sort of sentimentality that they tend to parody in this movie and satire is like sort of played straight, and it's kind of clumsy. Like I never liked it when they get back and when they go back to the White House and they use their video game skills to fight the aliens. That almost feels like something that this movie should be making fun of versus just playing straight.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. We should probably talk about it when we get there, but it would have been funnier if they started to do that and then something happened and the kids got like crushed or something like that.
Yeah, completely subvert, like you said,
That would wreck the whole loner theme that we got going, but I don't know.
I mean, they're not loners. They're hanging out with each other, so by definition, they should be killed.
So they have to get killed by a technicality.
Yeah.
Martin Short. Put him and Paul Rubens in a room together. Make my fucking skin crawl.
Why don't you like Martin Short?
Looks like a pederast. Look at him.
I just feel bad for Martin Short right now.
You know, he's one of the longest subscribers we've had on this channel. Not anymore now.
I'm okay with that.
God, we can never do 3 Amigos. You'll just be like swearing like constantly.
I don't be swearing. I'll be hiding in the other room.
You'll be broken into a cold sweat the second we press play. Is that Donald Trump?
Don't think so.
He's got the same skin color.
Or it's the lighting. No, it's the skin color.
Yeah.
His skin color matches the ceiling.
His
skin color's the same. I think maybe that could be the point.
Well, he was apparently originally supposed to be a much bigger character. Like, there was actually going to be, like, a death scene where, like, he was, like, trying to save his money and all that. And they, again, needing to cut down on plot elements and plot characters. Were like, you know what, we'll leave him just being a douchebag boss who has only a few lines.
There's Pierce Brosnan with his pipe.
Yeah, he's great.
This is a good role for Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, yeah.
In the nicest possible way. He's always looked a little like a Ken doll, and this plays that up in like an interesting way.
Yeah, he's playing the
or at least
classic.
a funny way, I should say.
He's playing the classic B-movie professor, the expert, and they just totally shit on him.
Yeah, because he's basically just a fool the whole movie.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, he knows nothing about the... We'll get to that. It's great.
Again, like they said, you know, it's like the movie just like everyone's like except the loners are irredeemable assholes, morons, and like as we get into it, Rod Steiger's like the only person in power who has any common sense to be like, no, they're clearly trying to kill us. Let's blow them up, but still is so inept that it cancels any logic he has out.
I don't know. I guess maybe you have to have a certain sense of humor to appreciate this.
No, it's definitely great.
I don't mean that in like a snobbish way, but like you were saying, Jacob, a movie like Independence Day is a little more accessible, whereas this one, there is this certain sense, like it's a satirical element that works for some people and works and it doesn't for others, and it's fine.
Some people just want to cheer on Boomer.
Boomer will live. There we go. Memes about the dog from Independence Day. The dog in this one does not fare out very well. I think they're like the same breed of dog too. I think weren't they both golden retrievers?
Wait, there's a golden retriever in this movie?
Yeah, the president's dog gets sitting right next to them in the scene we just watched.
Oh, sorry.
I want these chairs, like the Men in Black style, like egg chairs. Which apparently, like, those chairs, at least the Men in Black ones with the foam around, were designed for, like, hearing tests. And, like, the people, like, making Men in Black saw that. And, like, this looks great for a space agency. It's like, no, it's to test people's like hearing. No, aliens. So same thing here.
The whole like element where they're all just like superficial assholes that care about their petty personal problems. It's like a very Tim Burton thing. That reminds me of like Edward Scissorhands, when the neighborhood's trying to conform Edward, or even like when we were watching it last night, like Batman Returns, when they're trying to get the Penguin, this like grotesque monster, to run for mayor, and he's clearly just like a psychopath, but they're just too wrapped up in their own superficial concerns to really notice.
I love this. Like you said, like he's just trying to spin everything into gold the entire time.
Basically, this movie is just an escalation in people's stupidity. They could have solved this problem maybe earlier if they just listened to Rod Steiger.
Yeah.
But even that didn't work. So
Just gotta get Slim Whitman. I like how apparently like they didn't, when they were writing it, they're like, well, what should the aliens sound like? And they just wrote Ack Ack a bunch of times like as a placeholder, and then they're like, yeah, that works.
Honestly, like it's kind of iconic in its own right.
yeah, because Pierce Brosnan knows the anatomy.
Yes, he just saw like one alien with clothing on.
He knows everything.
I like how he's wearing the like white lab coat, even though they're not in a laboratory. But yeah, it goes into like, you know, it's making fun of like the 50s B movies. Like it's doing it in a way where it's like they're not calling attention. Like no one's like, why are you wearing a lab coat? It's just like a funny thing. Like if you've rewatched this movie a bunch of times, you start noticing like that makes zero sense for the actual setting, but like it makes sense for if this was a shitty B movie, they'd probably be like, yeah, you know, he's a scientist. He's got to be wearing a lab coat, so you can tell he's a scientist.
Well, that's what's great about it, is that it doesn't really wink at the audience. Yeah. You can kind of figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking the notes.
I wonder if that general, the one who gets vaporized, this one, I wonder if like they were trying to like do a take on Colin Powell, because by this point he was very well known on the national stage. So I wonder if this was like a subtle like knock against him. And Rod Steiger kind of looks like General Schwarzkopf, who, you know, only a few years before was doing Desert Storm. So I wonder if these were deliberate shots. Like I kind of like whenever I hear like Nicholson talking as the president, doing like the whole "sweetie, they expect me," like almost like they're making fun of Reagan as well. So I wonder if this is deliberate jabs at somewhat concurrent politicians and military leaders at the time, or if I'm just reading into it. Because I know Johnny Depp channeled Reagan when they were trying to mock Ed Wood's speech a little bit, so I wonder if that was the same mindset here.
Okay, I was gonna ask, does Tim Burton keep up on current events?
I don't know. It could just be, again, especially with the president, going back to like the 50s, kind of like a little wooden, hokey acting. So.
It could just be like a general, what kind of person Tim Burton doesn't like sort of thing.
Oh.
And I guess the answer is the majority of people, but unless you're a loner.
This is when Burton was at the peak of his powers, really.
Yeah.
And he could at the time he could make a movie like this with this cast and this budget and with this story off of these Topps trading cards. It's just amazing.
Yeah, he could pretty much do whatever he wanted. Like even now, like Tim Burton, obviously, you know, still huge, but he makes stuff based on like pre-existing books and brands, and kind of folds them into his own brand, which is a thing at this point. You think of like Alice in Wonderland, and that's like a huge blockbuster, but it's him taking a previously existing story, the Disney Alice in Wonderland, and folding it into sort of his own Tim Burton brand, and he does a lot of that kind of stuff now. But I think that also speaks more to the film market today than anything else.
Well, I feel like he might thrive on like Netflix or something, where you could kind of go back to this.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Like just Tim Burton could do some original project on like a streaming service.
Shit, he could just do another stop motion movie, and I think Netflix would let him do that.
Yeah, Frankenweenie was great.
I didn't see. I just watched The Corpse Bride last year, and that was great.
I remember when Frankenweenie was announced, because that was a short film that he made in like the 80s. And I was like, well, how are you going to make that into like a feature-length film? And ironically, it's not only really good, but the stuff that they expanded on ends up being some of the best stuff in the movie, which is normally not how that works.
Yeah.
Got 2 James Bond actors in this. You got that guy, the father, who's
John Baker.
Oh, the father?
Yeah.
That's the actor? Okay.
Yeah.
I never knew. He plays Jack Wade in GoldenEye, and you got Pierce Brosnan.
I was really hoping it was going to be the sheriff from The Man with the Golden Gun.
Oh, my God. Oh, no. Live and Let Die. That's where he first appeared in.
That is true. That was his first appearance.
Yeah.
But later that character returned.
I feel like that's the same actor and character in Superman 2.
It is, yeah.
Sheriff McGee. That's the same guy?
The same guy.
So where's James Bond during the Kryptonian invasion? Could you imagine James Bond's like, I'll get in here, and then just immediately gets vaporized, much like this, just gets vaporized by like the Kryptonians?
I mean, that was the Roger Moore Bond at that point. So actually, I think he's the one Bond that would have been able to take care of that with ease.
Fair point.
Now, she's the secretary in Beetlejuice, correct?
Their handler, or like whatever you want to call it. But yeah, she's in Beetlejuice.
Okay. I have not seen Beetlejuice all the way through. It's one of those films I've just watched bits and pieces over the years on TV.
Yeah. And that's a funny thing, another connection. Obviously, that's a Tim Burton movie, but partway into the movie, when they're in her office, you can see red and green skeletons in the background. So, it's very funny that those red and green skeletons later then come back into play, obviously, in this movie when the Martians start blasting their victims. So, Tim Burton likes that style, I guess.
I was just going to say, we just skipped past it, but that conversation in the car there is a very nice moment. It's like that's an example of like a strong, genuine moment if you're looking for something like that in this movie, where the grandma insinuates that he's like the good one in the family.
Yeah.
So she has favorites.
Yes. I can't blame her.
No, I know. In that case, it's an exception.
Well, it's like, I guess I contrast that with the kids thing where it feels much more artificial. It's like a very nice moment.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be railing on these kids the whole commentary.
We're going to find out that like one of them like cut Jacob off in traffic like a couple weeks ago, and now he's got a vendetta.
Oh, no.
I'm sure they can drive. Gotta be like 30 years old now.
When did this come out? It came out in 96.
Yeah.
Sorry, we just went into that whole thing.
Yeah, I think the grandma is a very hilarious character in this because old people are inherently funny. But no, like how we keep like cutting back to her every now and then when she's like, like laughing, like they blew up Congress. That's just such a funny like old person like reaction.
I forgot about this.
Oh, foreshadowing. Yeah, apparently Howard Stern wrote like a short idea in the 80s and was trying to go around with it where Slim Whitman music does kill Martians. And he saw this movie, he's like, whoa, that's a coincidence. And like years later, he brings this up to Tim Burton on his show. And Tim Burton like just started laughing, says, well, you probably should have tried suing the shit out of me, I guess.
I think I've seen Tim Burton on Howard Stern's show before.
Wait,
Yeah.
he goes on talk shows?
Apparently.
And Howard Stern, of all people?
Yeah, I've seen him talk about Superman Lives on Howard Stern.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's a fascinating story right there, Superman Lives. We don't have time to go into it, of course, but...
No, I think we should dedicate the rest of the commentary talking about that
Maybe
and
we
then
should
Kevin Smith's feud with him.
We should just do like an imaginary commentary track for like an imaginary Superman Lives.
I'll just do it over Superman 4.
Okay.
No, I don't really want to do
We
that.
don't need to do that.
No, I really don't.
We'll do it over Superman 3.
We'll just pretend we're watching Superman Lives.
If just Jack Nicholson is so enchanting and mesmerizing in these scenes.
He always is.
I don't even think I recognized him when I was like a kid watching this.
Yeah. Like I said, I thought this was Michael Keaton.
Yeah, you can definitely see Michael Keaton playing this.
Yeah. Because it's not your typical Nicholson role either, really. Like he's like almost fucking Yosemite Sam right now.
Well, I guess the story goes that the studio told Tim Burton that he could not kill Jack Nicholson's character off, and so to get around that, he cast him as two different people and killed both of his characters off.
Legal loopholes. Gotta love them.
And of course, Nicholson was down with it.
Yeah.
I mean, Nicholson was actually kind of talking about what a good guy is. On that first Batman movie, he really was Burton's cheerleader throughout that whole process. Because at the time, oh, this is great. Hold on. They're just appearing at different sides of the frame, just casually reacting.
And they don't even like leave his bedroom to go into like the situation room. Is like Glenn Close is probably just like sleeping to the right of them.
Just in his bedroom.
Everyone's fully dressed at 10 o'clock at night.
And the other guy's just waiting there.
Yeah, it's great.
Key media cross-section of guests.
This reminds me of the HBO movie The Second Civil War, which is a very good comedic movie, but they have Phil Hartman, the late great Phil Hartman, playing the president. He plays a very inept president as well, and like he's being influenced by like all of his aides who are like, oh, he's like, I gotta give him the deadline. Like, well, you don't want to preempt like guiding light or like some like soap opera. So I like the idea that our presidents are buffoons who are beholden to celebrities. Thank God that doesn't happen in real life.
What?
And now I'm sad.
We have all of our antiquated military vehicles. I love this guy.
Yeah.
He's just like so excited to go like talk to the Martians. He's got the cell phone and everything.
Here's a little bit of humanity here. It gives him some depth
Yeah.
right before he gets killed.
Well, this always like this still makes me a little sad because like he's probably like he's like the only person who's not like an irredeemable asshole. Like yeah, he's like still like he's like an idiot because he's like, oh, see, keep your head down, don't talk out of line. It works out eventually.
I just love how that phone is like huge.
No, there's that timeless Tim Burton aesthetic that you see in much of his movies, and I think that's part of the reasons why they've aged so well.
Well, it goes back to like this is partially obviously really going to the style homage of the Mars Attacks cards, which came out in the 50s, but like you said, like very classic, timeless era. It's like Big Fish especially. Like it's very like they don't say what war his character is going off to. Like they have like apparently like the North Korean flag, but then someone's like speaking Japanese. Like the gear is like from a different war and all that. So it's very like nebulous at what point does Ewan McGregor go off to war, but it works as it makes you be able to watch it at any given time and connect to the characters.
Well, it's this heightened kind of fairy tale vision that Tim Burton really likes to employ.
He's talked about that specifically. Like he tries to make his movies not feel part of a specific time period unless they're something biographical, like Ed Wood or Big Eyes.
Yeah.
I never noticed how it's framed with the American flag there. That's great.
Yeah. Again, in the lab coat.
So here's my question. Is the implication in this upcoming scene that they just keep mistranslating everything the Martians say, or are the Martians deliberately screwing with them? Because they never really specifically say what's happening. You just kind of take it as like a miscommunication of some, to some degree.
I can go either way with it because it makes either way it makes the scene later when we see like they're running with the machine screaming don't fear us, we're your friends. Either way it makes it comedic. I'd like to lean on that the aliens are fucking with us, especially when you see like them inhaling like the nuke explosion later in the movie and laughing like crazy with that, and like the snow globe that it is them fucking with us, but it can go either way.
It could even be a combination. Yeah. They just never really outright specify what it is.
Yeah. Because they do speak reasonably coherent now for the rest of the times, too. Like, the first time around, maybe they're just like, you could argue, like, they're just like, okay, they're not going to understand this, just say a bunch of random gibberish, and then they are surprised, like, oh, wait, they actually know what we're saying.
Do you consider Lucas Haas's character the protagonist, or is this more of an ensemble?
I think it's an ensemble.
I consider it an ensemble.
Yeah.
Because there's large chunks where he's not on screen, so it's not like we follow him through this with the rest of the people. It's just everyone in general. And he happens to be the one to save the world.
Yeah.
I think another version of this movie probably would have focused on him, and these, like the big actors, would have been sort of background characters, just sort of adding some satirical fill while you focus on the more likable guy. But here, he kind of switches around and focuses on all the irredeemable assholes getting their,
Plus, if they did that, it would be more like a traditional modern disaster film in a way. It wouldn't harken back to the 50s B movies, which were more ensembles.
Yeah. I would be very interested to see, like, a breakdown of, like, which characters, like, have the most lines. Like, I almost feel like Nicholson as the president has more to do than, like, Lucas Hodge does. Like, I feel like
maybe
once we really start getting going, we follow him.
In terms of competence,
yeah,
maybe not. But I see your point, though.
Yeah,
in terms
definitely
of screen time.
focuses more on those characters.
Yeah, like the Washington military. Because, Sarah Jessica Parker, and then once he's taken aboard, Pierce Brosnan don't get nearly as much time. Michael J. Fox is about to be vaporized, so... Yeah, that really then leaves you with Lucas Hodge, Byron, and Annette Bening's storylines, and two of those storylines will eventually converge together. See, there's the dog.
I like how Nicholson sits in the chair. Everything he does.
He's a master.
Again, it's because he's like playing it so straight. This movie really doesn't wink at the audience. That just makes it so funny.
Oh, yeah. Again, going back to, I just love the 50s military aesthetic. Like, we had body armor on our soldiers by this point. They're just wearing shirts and pants like they're in Korea.
Now, coming up here, I think this is the one thing that sort of dates the movie, the CG of the aliens. I think this should have been stop motion like Burton wanted it to.
Yeah.
But this was right when CGI was booming, and so Warner Brothers was probably very insistent upon that.
And I still think the CGI, for the most part, like, works in the fact that it's like a 50s B movie. So this, like, what would a modern B movie use? They would use CGI.
I don't know. I think it sort of clashes with what they're going for. With the 50s B movie aesthetic and everything.
I think it would have been better. I agree with you, but I think it does work, though.
Better is stop motion, what we're saying. I should clarify.
Maybe.
When they originally were planning on making it stop motion, which I think would have been the right move with this movie.
Especially with Burton's aesthetic of, loving stop motion.
I think it probably was argued that, stop motion looks fake, but I think this actually looks a little more fake now.
Yeah, it's a thing where I don't think the CGI is like flawless, first of all, in this movie. I think it looks a little dated. It's mostly saved by the design of the aliens, which is really good. But on the same token, I think it just would have fit better with the aesthetic of this movie, which has sort of like this weird, timeless, old-fashioned feel, except the aliens are like mid-90s CGI.
Yeah.
What if in with the satire, too? It's just these kind of anachronistic.
Yeah. Especially with the way their jaw, like the little like flappy jaws on the side of their jaws move like that. That's what I always focus on, the CG looking a little weird.
I don't know. I think it's just trying to do a little too much. It's taking a very simple thing but overcomplicating things a little bit. It's taking away from the concept simplicity.
Yeah. Well, they're also ones they had to do it in CG, like, were hamstrung by the design, because these are spot on to like how the cards look, like straight down to, like I said, the little jowls or flaps on the side of their mouths, like, so they were hamstrung by the fact, like, oh well, we want it to look exactly like the card and limits of CGI. So
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I'm sure it would have been much harder to sell, even harder than it already was, if the aliens were all sort of esoteric stop-motion creations.
I think it would have... maybe it would have been more confusing, especially maybe with what the marketing was. The trailers were pretty bad. I don't think they really got this movie, but
yeah.
I think that would have made it stand out a bit more. Would have made people maybe at least more curious about it. I'm not saying that would translate to to bigger success or bigger box office, but I think maybe that would have made it a little more curious to people.
I think it's tough when you're just trying to sell this to sort of like average Joe that just wants to see like an alien movie, maybe an alien movie that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, but it's got this weird stop motion aesthetic that makes it look really dated. Why would they do that? It's like, you know, I'm not even trying to be like critical here of the quote unquote average Joe audience, you know. It's just, there's a lot to delve into in terms of the satire in this movie, and if you're just looking for a night out of the movies, I can see why that could be a harder sell.
It's not a movie for grandma.
Yeah. Now, there...
You know what's ironic is the first time I saw this, I think I was actually at my grandma's.
Oh. Was she watching it with you?
I do not think she did.
There you go.
Now, I do wonder, because the alien did look horrified when the bird flew by. I wonder if there also was a level of, they are right, that birds are a symbol of war. So had that bird not flown by, everything would have been fine. Like, at this point, they're like, nope, fuck humans, we're done.
Well, again, it's like there's sort of like almost an ambiguity, not necessarily intentional ambiguity, as to like what the communication here is. If it's like the aliens showed up and were planning on killing them the whole time, or if like the bird or their symbol that they just made there where they waved their hands, if that meant they wanted to declare war. It's never made totally clear.
Yes.
Apparently there's like a novelization that like elaborates on it a little bit more.
So I guess either way, they're just totally fucked. No matter what humanity does, it's just the fact that their humanity means they were doomed.
Yeah.
Just it's very nihilistic.
No, I didn't realize this. Never once in the scene do you actually see any one of the soldiers shooting their rifles. Like, they didn't put in muzzle flashes. You don't see anyone acting like they're
That's great.
Yeah. Only occasionally.
Oh, you saw one. I saw one back there,
But
but
like very rare. I guess that like that's the most you see is like the machine guns like on top of the tanks.
All right, now here's some trivia. Why are the skeletons all green and red?
Cheap paint.
Because this was originally supposed to come out like during the holidays.
Well, it came out pretty close. It came out around December, I think.
This came out during the summer, I believe.
Damn, IMDb lied to me then.
Let me double check that.
Because
I think it was this summer. I thought it was August.
I'm tired of you guys gaslighting me with my movie trivia. I know when Mars Attacks came out, damn it.
According to IMDb, it says release date December 1996. Independence Day came out in July, according to IMDb. Yeah, this part, like, really subverts. Like, you think they're going to get there, because, again, oh, it's a big star. It's Michael J. Fox. And then, nope.
So originally Johnny Depp they wanted to get for that role.
Yeah. Which would have been ironic, him playing the love interest to Sarah Jessica Parker like he did in Ed Wood.
Yeah.
It was December, so it was an intentional thing.
Oh, so I was wrong then.
Yeah, don't gaslight me.
Went and, edited the Wikipedia article I'm looking at right now. I could have sworn this was a summer release. Because that's where, like, the Independence Day competition comparison comes from, right?
Maybe it was initially supposed to be in the summer, and they pushed it back. Warner Brothers got, like, a little too scared.
Let me see. Now I'm going to look that up. Hold on.
I wonder what Pierce Brosnan's thinking.
If this was like a Zucker Brothers movie, they would have like bubbles coming out of his pipe, probably.
Get the public's opinion.
The army just got annihilated. We gotta get Rod Steiger's the best.
Looks like Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now a little bit.
Fat bald guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of discuss it here, like, did the dove cause them to attack? But it's not really expository, it's more speaking to, like, the incompetence of these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, this movie escalates because of the stupidity of these people.
Yeah. I also like how, like, in the, like, adjoining room to the Oval Office, they have all this equipment set up. Like, they're not going to have, like, the Situation Room or the War Room we see later on. It's just, like, in this, like, broom closet.
It's just there.
And again, in the lab coat, I never really noticed it until that one scene. It's like he's in a lab coat like 90% of the time he's on camera.
Just the calm Jack Nicholson speech to the aliens that just like wiped out the army.
Can you imagine, like, was FDR's response after, like, Pearl Harbor or Bush's, like, after 9/11? Maybe it was a cultural misunderstanding.
The Martian paper.
See, this is where the CG doesn't hold up as much.
No, not at all.
It's not bad, it isn't aged as well.
Yeah, like, that hand looked very fake.
Well, it's weird because the CG just clashes with the
Look at the
overall
cow.
aesthetic.
I've never noticed them carrying a cow in the background. We can't even hear them, but like it's just so funny. They're laughing. And again, going to like a Playboy model that looks like it's from like the early 60s.
It's a great close-up when you don't have the sound up.
Remember the commentary track for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? Imagine if, like, how fucked up the screen looked. Imagine if it looked like this now. The horrific reds and blues. Click in the link to listen to that one, guys.
Yeah, do you remember that, audience? Remember that, listeners? That thing you saw during the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles commentary track?
Pause this commentary, go listen to the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles commentary, then come back when you understand the full breadth of it.
Yes, this is the full breadth for this thing which you never actually saw.
Hey, I put the images up in the video.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Maybe you guys should listen to the commentary / watch what I work on.
I saw it.
The sad part is that's the one I think I actually listened to more than once because I was like bringing up the picture to someone. I was showing them the picture that you put in there. Oh, and here's the one part where it looks like Jack Nicholson to me.
Yeah.
Not criticizing it. It's just an observation.
It's in this part where they take off the hair that I really do notice. Oh, they did put a slight prosthetic nose on him too. Mm-hmm. But this set's great, like a 50s B movie, like laboratory, like that would not look like this at all.
This is one of my favorite jokes in the movie.
Good to see the army was able to kill at least one alien.
There's nothing.
It's just green slime.
Very curious.
Get the Nickelodeon gack in there.
Yeah, so there were practical aliens made for this. They have them on the Warner Brothers store there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wonder how many were made if it was just like for various shots like that where they're dead, like one or two where they're dead, like towards the end where they're picking them up.
I'm just looking at the menu.
Okay, room tone. And thus a fetish was born.
What are you talking about?
Yes, the funeral for an American icon.
So this is when Jack Black was starting to get like bit roles in movies. He was in Enemy of the State. He was in The Jackal.
Biodome.
He was in Waterworld.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he was.
And The Neverending Story 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of getting typecast as the
Idiot bully.
schlub. Yeah, the idiot. I think probably the better word.
Yeah. Well, I think they were trying to be like, oh, Bill Paxton was playing the idiot douchebag in a lot of movies in the 80s. He's now too big. Who can we get for this now? Like Jack Black, if they had made Weird Science like 10 years later, Jack Black definitely would play the brother in that. Like the bully brother that Paxton played.
Bill Paxton should have been in School of Rock then. Hey kids! I'm your teacher. That's my Bill Paxton impression.
Did he have a mental handicap?
When he played Hicks, when he played Hudson in Aliens, maybe.
Okay, he almost had like a male Valley Girl voice in that movie.
A little bit. Like a southern...
He had the disability in The Circle. Remember that movie?
Oh.
Actually, I think that might have been his last movie.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Oh, God.
He was in Training Day. He played Denzel's character. All due respect to Bill. I guess I could see what they're going for, but...
Wait, what?
Yeah, there was a Training Day show.
Took me a few minutes to put that together in my head.
Yeah, there was a Training Day show. It was made right before he died, and he played the Denzel character.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, R.I.P. Bill Paxton.
He was a great actor. Remember how he was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Oh.
He ended up being the main villain in season 1.
I liked him in True Lies.
Jake's like, how can I do anything other than talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Well, we could talk about Mars Attacks.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
No, let's talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Or we can talk about Spy Kids 2.
I'd rather talk about Spy Kids 2.
He's great in Spy Kids 2.
That was the one I've seen the least. Spy Kids 1 and 3 I watch more.
Spy Kids 3, oh my god. That's a whole other commentary.
We should watch the fourth one.
I've never seen the fourth one.
I've heard it's bad.
I like all 3 of the original movies.
Yeah. Again, I like the amount of stupid people, which I guess is very realistic. Being like, hey, let's go see where the aliens who massacred all the fucking people at the last meetup are going to be. The army's got no choice to be here, but these people are stupid. It plays into everyone's an idiot.
Well, this would have happened in real life. Let's face it.
Yeah, true.
People are this stupid, if not more so.
Here they come again.
And by the way, I guess this goes into the translation machine has to work, because how would we have known that, we just talked over that, they want to, address Congress, they want to meet again, and then they coincidentally do. So I guess the translation machine does work, and they're fucking with us.
Then what happens in that scene when he's just spouting nonsense?
In this scene?
No, at the beginning when they're on the TV and they're translating it and it's a total mistranslation.
Like I said, it might go to they thought, okay, there's no way they're going to translate this. Let's just fuck with him. And he's just saying random shit, knowing that it won't matter. It's like if you're doing a silent movie, just say whatever the fuck you want to say and hope no one can read your lips. And that's why they're legitimately surprised when they hear their "We come in peace." Maybe they were doing it mockingly, is the way I interpret it.
What a great excuse, Martin Short.
Yeah. I wish we could have seen the vice president. Who do you think the vice president would have been played by in this if he was a character?
Let's see.
Christopher Walken.
Oh my god, yeah. Mr. President.
2 mice fell to a bucket of cream.
Don't go.
The Martians, they're striking.
Making it over fun. Those rascally Martians. And then he kills Natalie Wood.
Anyway.
Yeah, Christopher Walken, who's the other dedicated listener, is now not going to want to listen to us again.
Martin Short, Martin and Chris, we're really sorry. They were our Patreons, guys. What the fuck?
They got to do something in their free time.
I imagine Christopher Walken plays basketball or something.
I read in Parade magazine his hobbies are cats. He has tons of cats.
That explains why he was in that movie. What was the Kevin Spacey one?
9 Lives?
Yes. I'm sorry I had to refer to it as that. I legitimately couldn't remember the title.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would have been more confusing if I said, what was that Jennifer Garner movie called again?
Guess it wasn't the Dove.
Steiger also kind of reminds me of the general from Iron Giant, played by the dad from Frasier. Like, I'm expecting to see Rod Steiger pulling his pistol out and just shooting as well. That's just Annette Bening falling off the wagon.
Oh, I didn't notice that before. He's
Rod
just trying to
Steiger's
shoot.
shooting him.
Yeah, it's better than a pistol, I guess.
Like how he's eating a donut when this is going on.
Yeah. Maybe that's why he doesn't feel more proactive, because he spends the first 2/3 of the movie just kind of watching things on TV from the donut shop.
Because nothing happens in bumfuck wherever they are.
But it's a piece of a larger whole. I like that.
Yeah. I love this room. It makes zero sense. Like, why are they all sitting so far away?
He moves forward an inch, but that's it.
Not anymore. Well, hold on. Let's not be racy.
1 step forward, 2 steps back.
I just like how he delivers the line. Oh, it's the nuclear deterrent.
Are you crazy? I'm not going to start a nuclear war.
This is this movie's equivalent of you can't fight here. This is the war room.
Yeah.
Now I kind of wanted to see what George C. Scott would have done with this role, playing the general in Doctor Strangelove in this.
I'm sure he would have done an acceptable job.
Yeah. Oh, maybe not, because I think he was dead by this point.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know when he died. I mean, he was pretty old when he did Patton. That was 25 years before this.
Well, he was in The Exorcist 3. That came out in the early 90s.
Oh, it did? Yeah. Also one... Oh, he died in 99.
Okay.
Let's see when he stopped.
That's a great line.
Jesus Christ.
It's actually, I just realized, Designated Survivor, the Kiefer Sutherland show, has a very similar, line of dialogue in this. There's an episode dealing with them having to do a new election and, a terrorism potential going on, and, he says, he's like, no, we need to let the American people know that the mail will be delivered, schools will be open, we have to continue on for our way of lives. So this really overly comedic line in this was used in it seriously without irony in an ABC drama.
I think I remember that, actually.
Yeah.
I used to watch that show.
Which incidentally, that Michael J. Fox was in the 2nd season of that show.
Oh.
Did you know Michael J. Fox was also in The American President?
Yes. I think I'd heard that somewhere. I think Jake told me that.
He was there with Jack Nicholson.
He was also in Ties That Bind.
Stuart Little, too.
I saw that movie in theaters.
Yeah, I saw Stuart Little, too.
Maybe I saw the... M. Night Shyamalan wrote the first Stuart Little movie.
That first movie is actually very good.
It is. Anyway.
Back to Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
I love this shot.
Yeah, I like how he's able to somehow turn the thing. It makes zero sense, but I love it.
There's his heart.
And then his leg and arm.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh, that aged well.
It looks like her head is almost CGI as well. That's not even really Sarah Jessica Parker's head. And when we do the eventual commentary to Sky Captain the World tomorrow, we can talk about how technology's gotten better at recreating dead celebrities,
Sir Laurence Olivier.
Yeah, in that one.
Was that
Definitely come a long way.
That wasn't actually CG though. That was footage of that.
That was.
Laurence Olivier.
Well, I think it's what they did with Brando in Superman Returns, where they took clips of him and were able to manipulate it enough. Which that's the most interesting part of Superman Returns, just the 10-minute documentary they made about bringing Brando back to life for 30 seconds in that movie. I like how you can see the flags are all half-staff in the background. They're going to be at half-staff for a very long time after this movie.
I like how she's dressed. It's
Yeah.
like a 1950s like blonde bombshell monster.
Yeah. Well, and this is Lisa Marie Burton's. Were they married or just
I
dating?
think they were in like a long-term partnership.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. She played I almost said Elvira, Vampira in Ed Wood a couple years prior to this.
She was also Ichabod's mother in Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, and she was wasn't she in Planet of the Apes as well? She was Nova, right?
She was in
Nova.
Planet of the
She
Apes.
was no. She wasn't Nova.
She was in Planet of the Apes, though. I think. I don't know who she played, but I believe she was in that movie.
The Charlton Heston one, right?
No,
No.
No, I know. I'm fucking with you.
Yeah.
No, the Matt Reeves one.
Look it up, but yeah, I thought she always did very well in with what even though they were in a long-term partnership, she never got to do too much of those movies. But this is a very cool design. I mean, obviously it speaks to the design of it that she's on the poster of the movie, along with dog-headed Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah, she actually nice emblem, kind of emblematic of the movie.
But it goes back to what you're saying. Like, it's a very 50s,
Yeah.
like stylized 50s. It almost feels like what like the Martians like received like our television signals from the 50s, and this is what they think humans look like.
I also like that Martin Short is just like looking for action, like nothing has been happening. It's like exactly like it was earlier in the movie before the Martians became a threat.
In fairness, FDR I'm sure kept seeing his mistress during all of World War II. So why can't Martin Short get a little action?
But that was overseas, at least. This is happening on American soil.
You don't consider Hawaii or the couple islands of Alaska that the Japanese took part of American soil. You only consider the lower 48 part of America. God, Jake.
You're right. I'm so sorry.
You just hear me leave, like I'm done with the commentary. You just hear the door shut. Oh yeah, suck it. She did play Nova in the Planet of the Apes movie.
Really?
Unless I went in and edited that IMDb page as well.
She was Nova. Are you? Huh. Okay. Well, okay. Fuck it. It's been so long since I've seen the Tim Burton one. It's not very good.
I don't know if I've seen it all the way through. I've seen like the beginning, and I think I've seen the end.
Oh wait, I think Nova is a different character.
Yeah,
she's they have this.
She's Chris Christopherson's
Estella
daughter.
Warren.
Yeah, that's her.
Estella Warren plays the human love interest in that version.
Yes.
So
who did we determine that she plays?
she plays Nova, but Nova isn't the same character importance as she was in the original '60s Planet of the Apes. So that was leading to our confusion, I
Oh,
think.
what a shame. Like that. I mean, the original is a classic, but that Tim Burton one was such a letdown. Great ending though.
Yeah.
Should have gotten the Oliver Stone Planet of the Apes movie. That script is fucking nuts. Look it up on the internet. It's great.
Well, my favorite part of that movie is Paul Giamatti at the time, where it's like people know it's like, oh, he's a good actor, but no, we're gonna keep putting him in garbage movies,
Great
or good movies, but with very small performances. He couldn't hit that sweet spot yet.
The best part of the movie is the makeup for
Oh,
the
yeah.
apes. It's excellent. I'm just trying not to talk about Martin Short.
She looks like
This
the
would be
entire,
your favorite scene, Jake.
the entire time she looks like she's trying not to laugh. Like she seems like she's 1 second away from not laughing every time that she's on screen.
It's interesting how people finally become self-aware when they themselves are hurt. I know that might sound obvious, but maybe that goes into like the cynicism and the nihilism of this movie. Maybe I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, but that's just kind of what I've been noticing.
There's a lot to dissect here.
In this one scene, yes.
Yeah.
That's just great. It's like a horribly brutal death for Martin Short.
Yeah, I like how the aliens movie is like a little hunched over, like on roller skates.
Oh, that's how she moves?
Well, no, like saying like it looks like she's on roller skates, like with how smoothly she's moving.
I mean, she's probably like on a conveyor belt or something,
Yeah, like
laid down, or she's a great
like on a
movement.
skateboard or something.
Oh yeah.
I don't think she's on a
Or
skateboard.
a dolly or something like that.
Okay.
She's on a skateboard. They just
Yeah.
push her on cue.
Well, that's how apparently they did Clark Gable dancing in Gone with the Wind because he wasn't tall enough for Vivian Leigh to like be convincing, so they just put him on a skateboard during that dancing scene. So if you pay attention, Clark Gable's character is just not moving his legs at all as they're dancing.
So are you saying they'd use this? Never mind.
Well, I wonder though if this is even Lisa Marie anymore. Like, well, that's clearly not Lisa Marie, but like when her face was fucked up, like I feel like that was like a stunt man, like in a Lisa Marie mask at that point, since her face was ripped
It
off.
could have been. I think it might have been CGI.
Yeah.
Good for Jack.
Yeah.
Pummeling her.
Well, it was a good attempt.
Yeah.
Don't worry, darling.
Yeah, they do hate birds.
Oh yeah, you got some payback there.
It just starts disintegrating his face. Ah! Hey, it's the best of the three burglars from Baby's Day Out. Which, incidentally, will be our next commentary track, right, guys?
It'll be your next commentary track.
I've never watched that movie.
Oh, it's a classic. And by classic, I mean John Hughes really needed money at the time.
Well, to quote Dennis Hopper's son vaguely, "Do you need it that bad?"
You know, I haven't seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in years. That's a movie I'd like to give another chance.
I like that movie.
As I've gotten older, I've liked it slightly less, but it's still good.
I like it. I think it's underrated. I don't think it's in the same league as the original, but I appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah. There are people though who I think criticize Johnny Depp's portrayal a little too much. So I think it's you have to depart enough, have a big enough difference between the original Gene Wilder version. So I think that was a good compromise to make it its own character.
That's the thing.
But anyways, back to terrible CGI. It's weird because the effect of him not having a body looks reasonably good. It's just like, it's very weird. I think because they had to cheat it so much for her head to fit on a dog's body when it wouldn't at all. That might be why it looks so fake, as we know logically her head could not fit on that dog.
Maybe that's it. It's kind of distorted because of that.
Which I like that, like how perspective of cartoon characters change. Like they talk about like how Snoopy and Garfield always have to have smaller paws, like they're more realistic when they're sitting, but as soon as they stand, they realize, fuck, we have to make this look like this would make sense for them to be able to stand. Should have been Robert Picardo.
Does that pay off again?
No,
It makes it seem like it's going to be like a weakness.
No, maybe that was like a red herring. Like that's no, their actual weakness is something far more stupid.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to crush the boys.
Forced perspective's not great on that though.
Yeah.
Not that it was actually forced perspective of the monument.
Yeah.
I think the kids were disproportionately sized. They made them look a little too big.
So you could see them.
There's a tour going through. I like how everyone's just like, again, completely normal. Let's go on a tour of the White House. Like imagine. Just imagine there like other times of like Christ is just continuing to go on tours of famous places.
There's like an active like alien invasion and attack within the vicinity yesterday.
Yeah. It's like how Disneyland shut down when Kennedy was shot. He wasn't even shot anywhere near there, but they're like, let's close down.
Disneyland shut down, but the White House tours aren't.
Yes. I love Glenn Close. Just play like a combo of like Nancy Reagan and like I don't know who else. Maybe she's just Nancy Reagan. Yeah, when you see those things like real dummies, like you brought out how there are a handful of real ones on the WB tour.
Yeah.
They do look really great. So it's a shame we couldn't have gotten like stop motion.
You said Natalie Portman wasn't as well known. I mean, she was kind of well known, not the star
She was the
yet.
professional, but
that was like kind of what put her on the map.
that's what I'm saying. Like that had come out like a few years before this, right? Yeah.
She was up and coming.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, Gerald Ford, no. You got splattered with cartoony blood.
Yeah, I really think the kid should have just been like also crushed by a chandelier in this scene or something.
They picked up the guns, like, yeah, immediately vaporized.
Yeah, or something like that.
Tim Burton might have thought that was too mean-spirited because, no kids actually die because you don't even see any of the Boy Scouts get crushed. Like, it's all adults.
What a shame.
What's like the Grand Theft Auto principle? You never see kids in those games because the creators know, that might be a little too far.
Yeah.
He's got a new hairpiece.
Yeah.
Looks like the uncle from Christmas Vacation. Hey, Rance Howard. Yeah, I was reading like I was reading there was like a connection that apparently he's somewhere at Independence Day as well. Like he's the chaplain, I guess, in the Area 51 scene. I'm like, I don't remember that at all. Rance Howard was really getting around in his space movies in 1996.
He's very passionate about appearing in these like modern alien invasion films.
His cameo in Apollo 13 didn't pay enough, so he had to take a few more movies in the subsequent years.
He's going to his son for work, for money.
He's like, no, Dad, I have to give Clint a lot of work.
No one will hire him.
Now, I love this was an actual demolition of a real hotel at the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, I wonder if they weren't tearing this down, like, what would have been the conclusion of this subplot?
I mean, they just would have used the model.
Maybe.
I mean, they probably would have.
They would have had to halt production. They would have had no idea what to do.
Or Tim Burton would have been like, blow up a real hotel.
And back then, he probably could have gotten it done.
Oh, and then here we have the new main character of the movie.
We're now like an hour into the movie introducing Tom Jones, who's listed pretty high in the credits, too.
He's now in the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
This is one of the best parts of the movie. I love this.
And again, people are just going about their days as a full-scale invasion is happening. It's like in the Emmerich movie 2012, like when like all these terrible things are happening and it immediately cuts to like the main character's father on the cruise ship and they're all singing happy songs like the world is ending.
I must get to Washington to see my estranged ex-wife.
Who may or may not be hitting in continuity.
It has really disturbing implications knowing that's like the motive when they were filming all this. He just marches up at the end there. It's like, oh no.
Oh, jeez.
The true horror is just beginning. Apparently these backup singers were actually Tom Jones's actual backup singers.
Thanks. So apparently Tim Burton approached Tom Jones like backstage at a show after he performed to ask him to be in this movie. How do you?
He was this song was in Edward Scissorhands also, so I guess Tim Burton's a fan.
Makes sense. His era that Tom Jones was big as he was going into adolescence.
I love this shot coming up. Yeah, girls, get out, get out.
Tom Jones with that blue sports coat and everything. It's so funny.
And then he just stops right up and be like, get the fuck out!
Look, Danny DeVito's back.
Anyone got a pen? Yeah, I guess this would have been when they vaporized the boss who had one line of dialogue.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
The Martian's weakness, punch the glass down. Like it should have realistically showed like him being like, my fucking hand! I punched solid glass.
Who are you? They should be like the Danny DeVito.
I'm just getting like vibes from like the director's cut ending to Planet of the Apes, to Little Shop of Horrors.
Wait a minute, there's a director's cut to Planet of the Apes?
No, the Little Shop of Horrors, like director's cut ending is destroying New York.
I haven't seen that movie
That's
yet.
like probably one of the craziest alternate endings I've ever seen to a movie, but both endings are very good.
Yeah. Apparently, like, this was supposed to be a lot more graphic. Like, you'd see, like, the skeletons of, like, his coworker and the two cops.
You can see the police running out of the donut place.
Well, no, apparently, like, I guess they add that in because, like, initially, like, he was going to look back and see, like, skeletons inside, like, of his coworker and maybe one or two slower cops, but...
Oh, I thought it was just, like, a joke because they're cops, they eat donuts.
I like how he's got like the grease under his eyes like a football player, and then he's got like the fucking the breathing strip. Wonder who's on line one.
This might be one of my favorite parts, just because of Jack Nicholson's line delivery here.
Again, I just love how the Martians are fucking with them. Like they could easily blow up, but like no, we're your friends. Don't worry.
Maurice, get out of the room. Get out now.
Jack Nicholson's the master of being very over the top without raising his voice at all.
Yeah. Well, that should be the thumbnail.
No, I have a picture of the thumbnail. I'll show you.
Oh no. The plane from Con Air just is crashing in the background now on the strip. Again, our great 1950s military technology. Damn budget cuts. That will be the thumbnail.
That's going to be the thumbnail.
Or this.
Either way, it's going to be Nicholson.
He puts the pen in his hand.
What is... He sounds like he's got, like... He's been on, like, a bender for a couple days.
I mean... It's Jack Nicholson, maybe he has.
Tim, lower the lights. It's been a long night.
Now, the thing is, I mean, I've noticed, like, after you see his daughter get, like, separated from him, you never see her again in interact with her father. You don't see her again even until, like, the very end of the movie when she's giving Lucas Haas the, like, medal. So it's very interesting. I wonder if, like, back when they wanted to have a lot more shit in here, if they were going to have, like, her have something more to do, because they also would have gone a little more away to giving Nicholson like a more humanizing character if like he had a moment with her.
I wonder how many deleted scenes are in this. Maybe because maybe there's a scene like that when we see it between.
I cared because it's like he's not a particularly likable character, and even like Natalie Portman in this is supposed to be just sort of like a mopey teen.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about it at the end. That medal ceremony doesn't even play them like totally sincerely. Lucas Haas and Natalie Portman. It kind of makes them out into jokes.
So again, showing that there's no good people in this movie. Everything's meaningless.
Yep. So they finally go with Rod Steiger's plan, and it fucking backfires.
Oh no, Guy Fawkes was about to blow it up. That's a reference to a thing.
to Promethea.
Yes.
Get your CGI dust in there.
Nice stock footage. With the age of Blu-ray and 4K, really has not made stock footage appear any better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how that looks. Like on
Some
Blu-ray.
stock footage right here too.
The stock footage of those statues being destroyed on Easter Island.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this part. This looks like this is from like Inferno or like
Well,
something like
this
that.
looks intentionally. This is definitely stock footage. I think that.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
I like how they're just accruing more and more like human like stuff as they go along.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Kelly Bundy, no. But yeah, again, it goes to show you, like, she was on like one of the highest rated TV shows at the time, and she has like 2 lines of dialogue.
This is when everyone would have wanted to work with Tim Burton anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even have 2
exactly.
lines. It's one of those
Well,
things.
it's like what's her face in The Irishman.
Anna Paquin.
Yeah, Anna Paquin. Has like 3 lines.
Yeah, but she's like kind of the backbone to that movie,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, she's a very important
But
character.
yeah, but still, like just like.
Oh, I see
what,
your
yeah,
point.
oh, you want me to only have 3 lines? Okay, cool. I'm gonna Scorsese.
I remember she even said, "I'll play a
Okay.
tree."
So that robot, that design is great. If that was done practically, though, that's just begging to be done
Oh.
practically. And I'm not one of those guys that inherently dislikes CGI. But that design with the blocky sort of like model, almost toyetic sort of look to the whole thing, it's just begging to be like a stop motion model or a practical thing or something.
Well, you can tell Burton's trying to make it appear a little more stop motion. It's a little jerky,
Yeah.
but it, obviously because it's not stop motion, the effect isn't quite
Looks more
what it could
cartoony.
be. Yeah.
We should use your Dexter's Lab thing you have for the giant robot to recreate it. I'm gonna put crickets over that response.
Or just
That's solid. I'm not going to respond to it then.
I love, like, where the fuck are they? like this graveyard of signs right at the airport. Yeah, DeVito's great.
No, he's not.
Oh. How many movies has he done with Tim Burton? He's done this, Big Fish, Dumbo,
4.
Batman Returns, right?
yeah.
It's a Rolex.
Yeah, I like how he blows up differently than everyone else does for some reason.
Up and there goes, what is he, like the 4th billed person in the whole
Yeah.
movie?
He's been on screen for like 3 minutes, I think. Again, it'd be really
That's
cool.
funny,
Like
though.
someone needs
Yeah.
to do a stopwatch for like every character. Like how long is President Nicholson on? How long is Annette Bening on? How long is like so and so? I just keep going through.
I think Nicholson has the most screen time.
Yeah, when it
Yeah.
goes back to that, yeah, I think like Lucas Hodge ends up saving the day, but probably has very little screen time. He's probably disproportionately the most like important person to the least amount of screen time. Like this Wile E. Coyote like level gun they're bringing in.
Oh.
They really hate this grandma so much they're going through a lot of effort. I love that, jumping over the flaming cell in the wheelchair.
Yeah, that was actually Lucas Haas. That wasn't a stunt man.
He didn't even know they were going to throw it at him. He's like, ah!
Yeah, and this is how they defeat the Martians.
I wonder how like Slim Whitman's like estate, like we talked about, like they had to sign off of this. I wonder if there was any twinge of like, should we be doing this to like our father or grandfather, or they're like, fuck it, we're gonna make money. He's dead. Who cares?
I think they were just happy to be remembered at this point.
Like how sad she sounds there.
Yeah, seriously.
Like she's like personally offended. Like it was like her music.
He's just still at his desk.
I do like it's a nice touch with the floor map. Every time they show it, there's less tanks and just more alien flying saucers around. Like they are doing some level of continuity that we're getting our ass kicked.
I never noticed that. That's funny.
Like the Cupid, like I always thought that was like supposed to be like a Martian Cupid. It looked like it had like wings on him. I want there to be a Mars Attacks like Lego game where you could play as Rod Steiger with dual wielding pistols.
I love how he holds him too. Like it's just like the way he shoots him.
I feel like Rod Steiger has never fired a gun in real life before either.
I think he has. He seems like the type of man who's shot a gun many times.
I just love how he's doing it here.
Yeah,
it's like he's like a little kid playing like cops and robbers.
I like doing the Churchill speech.
Yeah. And I love instead of completely diving under the desk, he's using the chair as an unnecessary shield. I guess there's no other good time to bring it up, but they did like a sequel to the Mars Attacks like card series a little bit ago, still in the same style, but this time I guess the humans go to Mars. So.
Oh, so it's kind of like what Independence Day 3 was supposed to be.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, but it's very interesting because they updated the style a little bit, but still looks very vintagey. So it almost looks like Lost Cards style.
That's pretty interesting how a card series can do that, advance the story. Like, because I'm curious how that would translate to a sequel film.
Just stepping over the skeletons. Again, it goes back to him being naive, thinking like, "Oh, we can negotiate now from a place of strength. You're kicking our ass, but I can convince you now."
It's like a brief moment of clarity, of lucidity, of sincerity,
and then it's
gone.
meaningless.
Yeah.
When Jack Nicholson dies and they do his memoriam at the Oscars, I hope they use this scene.
That's like, I want to like write. Oh, and his tie's untied again.
You gotta shut this commentary off right now. Shut it off.
But now I've always said I want to like write the obituaries for like famous celebrities and like pick their like personal like least favorite thing or like something they wouldn't be proud of. Like Glenn Close, star of 102 Dalmatians, died today.
I'm sure their estates and their families would very much appreciate that.
Yeah. I wonder what movie Nicholson would be personally ashamed of and would not want to be his epitaph.
Wolf.
What was that last one that he did? It was like a favor, basically. It's like his own like Welcome to Mooseport.
It was one with Paul Rudd, right? It was like
How do you know? Is that what it was?
Yeah. That was his last movie, folks.
It's just like a very small role. I've seen part of that movie.
Yeah.
Should have been The Departed.
I like The Bucket List.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that came after. Yeah, that would have been fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's his own personal welcome to movie sport. It's like very sad that that's Hackman's last movie role.
Same thing with Sean Connery for League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I mean, I love that movie,
Yeah, but a little beneath.
it should have been Finding Forrester.
Yeah. What's the same thing with
Is Finding Forrester the one where that meme comes from? The "You're the Man Now" dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Punch the keys for God's sake.
But it goes also like, Jimmy Stewart's last movie was An American Tale 2 as a talking dog named Wiley Burp. Our Hollywood legends always pick the best movies to go out on.
Well, you gotta work.
We can't all be like Henry Fonda going out on Golden Pond.
Honestly, I kind of appreciate that. They're doing the work because it's work or because they like it.
I personally love An American Tale 5 Goes West. And that'll be our next commentary.
I haven't seen that in years.
It holds up.
If I ever watched the whole thing.
Just this motley crew of like two people dressed as Egyptians, Annette Bening and Tom Jones.
Oh yeah. Quick, before the Martians destroy all of our Slim Whitman music.
Could just imagine like every U.S. Army like unit be like, quick, go to the record store, find Slim Whitman. It's our only chance.
I love that little joke of Tom Jones when he hears the music. Who put that on?
I wonder if it was really supposed to be Tom Jones music and he threatened to beat the shit out of Tim Burton. And he's like, you fucking try and do that, I'll kill you.
He said it in like his regular, you do that again and I'll kill you.
It seems we're at an impasse, Tom. That's Tim Burton's voice. If you listen to Tim Burton, like, you think he's going to sound like some weird Tim Burton character, but he sounds like just some dude from the Valley.
Yeah.
He lived in Burbank, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It's a Mars movie.
Sounds like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the affectation I got from it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who he cast as Superman in Superman Lives.
Now, I like how like they feel like they need to have a boxing match. They have an alien gun. He could have just vaporized a bunch of them before they even realized it. Now, you can see none of them have their guns. He could have done it.
It's a character thing. It's
I know.
So-
conclusion of his arc.
So basically, the arc, as it was written on paper, goes, he was supposed to beat his wife, and then it was going to culminate with him being a hero by beating aliens.
Yeah.
Wait, do we know this though? Was that just the novelization?
No, that was in the novelization, but like they said those were scenes that were like written that were taken out but left in the novelization.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay. Whatever they say, right? Yeah.
But I love how like I know we talked about this when we were rewatching it. It's just when it had to be the Martian ambassador. Like you see like that character get its comeuppance. But it's like it's very funny to me that the Martian like ambassador is just like in some random fucking airstrip in the middle of nowhere on the outskirts of Vegas.
Well, maybe it's like a redemption equals death arc here.
Yeah.
And they cut it out, and they're like, well, all of them live at the end.
Well, apparently that was also the like originally it was scripted that he would be dragged away, and like you just see his body being dragged away, and then it'd be ambiguous whether he was alive or dead. And they're like, nah.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's because like I read like of like the 22 people billed in the like cast at the beginning, only 7 of them survive. So I guess they're like maybe like let's add one more in here, so make it from instead of 6, make it 7.
Oh, the perspective always throws me off with this shot.
Yeah. It's one step away from being the shark at the end of Jaws 3, where it goes through like the window, just stops because it just kind of stops as it goes in.
I give it a little more credit than
Totally
that.
frozen shark.
It's not that bad.
I'm just saying. And they're also inconsistent on how big the flying saucers are as well. Like that one's like smaller than the building now.
That I don't mind though. It's like basically whatever's best for the shot or funniest for the shot, you know. So do you think people just like started worshiping like the Slim Whitman music after like they stopped the aliens?
Oh, I thought you meant
Like,
I thought you meant in real
Yeah,
life,
me
like
too.
that sales one.
Did he get like a monument or something in the universe of Mars Attacks?
I'd like to think that.
He should be getting the medal posthumously instead of Lucas Hodges.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been cool if he showed up at the end, got the medal.
Yeah, I don't know if the guy was alive, but maybe that would be funny if they picked a random country music star who was alive to do that.
The Slim Whitman estate would have appeared.
Slim Whitman Jr.
The Slim Whitman estate. That'd actually be a funny gag.
His son Conrad Whitman.
Now, I like to think that because
I love that shot of the sunset with just the destroyed city.
I like to think that their heads are still alive at the bottom of the ocean in a hellish like limbo for them. That they're like, oh, this is hell.
Well, at least they're together.
They have each other.
Oh wait, no. This thumbnail is when we decided on with Tom Jones at the end.
I like this biome of like all these different animals that I don't think would actually exist. Where they say they were going to go, like Fresno.
Just in a cave. Yeah, it's great.
I also like how she's not taking off like the tiara or the gloves. She's just like, yeah, I'm keeping it all on.
That's why Tim Burton made this movie. It's actually a love letter to Tom Jones. I take it back. Is that a matte painting, maybe?
I think so. Looks like it.
Looks all. Yeah, see this scene. We talk about how these are like the only characters that he has sympathy for. But even here, or like the filmmakers have sympathy for. But even here, it's like a thing where they don't take him seriously because they really make Lucas Haas look like a buffoon,
Yeah.
and they kind of make Natalie Portman look like a fool
Like
too.
she doesn't give a shit and it's kind of turns into almost like a bubbly idiot by being.
Yeah, doesn't she even like start like trying to hit on him at
Yeah,
the
she
end?
says,
Or
"Do you
does-
have a girlfriend or something
Yeah.
like that?"
And so even like these more sympathetic characters are sort of portrayed as just like simpletons, and,
Yeah.
like kind of fools. He gives like the speech and everything.
Yeah, they're one step away from like having like the cutting to a shot of like the onlookers like looking like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, we get you saved the world, kid, but no.
Which I guess, you know, brings us to the conclusion that this is the most nihilistic movie that Tim Burton has ever made.
And that includes movies where people are getting fucking decapitated left and right. Movies like Sleepy Hollow. Get it? Because I'm implying that there's another movie where he has mass decapitations.
There was the that pond full of heads in Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen that movie in years.
And I don't want to.
It wasn't that bad.
Wasn't a bit. But,
That's okay.
yeah.
I
Anyways,
liked it.
back to this. Also, I find it funny that Natalie Portman is playing the stand-in for the U.S. government here in the wake of a tragedy, and then like 20-something years later, she's playing Jackie Kennedy in a
Also,
very sobering depiction.
This looks a lot like the Star Wars throne room scene, which she later did a direct homage to in The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
She's had a very varied career. I don't know how I feel about this visual gag of she's like cleaning up the house, like dusting, as the wall has been fucking blown away.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I guess what can you do? So,
That's funny. I
yeah.
think it's a funny visual. It almost, and this could be looking into it too much, but it is almost like an extension of the whole superficiality element of the whole thing, where they're focusing on the knickknacks inside when the entire wall is down.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I think it's a little bit more earnest than that here.
Yeah. I guess it shows, yeah, they do have to start building, so start with the simple stuff.
Uh-oh, he's back.
Ominous music should just start playing. The end? Question mark.
Oh no.
He walked all the way from Vegas.
Oh no! Kids, get out! Grab your things.
He's pissed. What happened to the wall?
He's back. That's the screenshot.
That's a very funny shot.
That's great. Somehow with a musical backing as well. Well, I'm Tom Jones. We hope you enjoyed this commentary track for Mars Attacks.
Thank you very much.
This movie is very funny.
Have a good night.